a Celtic cross. I'm going to show you how to easily draw a Celtic cross. The other day I showed you just basically how to draw a Celtic design, a Celtic knot, and we're going to use the same principles, but we're going to make it into a cross. I know that Celtic crosses are very popular, and so this is something that you can be able to do even if you don't have any real artistic talent. It's simple to do. It's much easier than you think. It's almost like playing connect the dots. So it's that easy. So anyways, I hope that the sound is coming through okay and true. It looks like everything's good here on the monitor. And so anyhow, the one thing I would like to ask you to do is please take a second and comment on the comments below. It helps us out with our feed. It helps us reach more people. But more importantly, we want to talk to you. We want to answer any questions that you might have so that we can make this a fun time designing here today. So if you have any questions, please comment. The other thing that I would like to mention is if you do comment, we will put your name into a hat and do a drawing every Thursday. So we stream on 4 different platforms, and so we go back for the entire week to all 4 platforms, and we pick we take all of the names of people who comment and we draw it out of a hat, and we give away either a tote bag or a t-shirt of any of our designs in our shop at www.aspbtees.com. And I know the holidays are coming up, and it is a great time for you to get one of these t-shirts or tote bags, not just for you, but it's just one less gift that you have to go. And what we're hoping is that when you get to our store and you say, all right, let me take a look and see what I'm gonna choose for my winning prize, because I was astute enough to leave a comment on the stream. And so anyways, when you get to our shop, you'll say, wow, they've got really great stuff. Maybe I'll pick up a couple more things for some other family members. There's a sale right now on Etsy. But we will pick up a couple more items for some of our other family members or friends while we're there. And so anyhow, the holidays are coming up. We have perfect gifts for the holidays, and so anyways, I won't go into that too much more, but if you can jump over and take a look at that, it would be greatly appreciated. Do leave a comment. Also, make sure that you subscribe or like, because we do this every day at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the morning. We try to do it for about 2 hours. Some days, depending on life, it's a little bit more, it's a little bit less. You know, we do what we can do. So, but we do try to shoot for 2 hours if we can. So come join us. We want to have you here. We want to talk to you. We want to meet you. So please interact with us and make any kind of requests. If there's something that you want to see illustrated, or if there's a program that you want to get a little more information about on the iPad, ask us. I've used most of the drawing apps on the iPad, and I would not mind sitting down and refamiliarizing myself with a few of them, which I would like to do anyways. But I tend to use Sketch Club on the iPad to do my drawing and illustrations, and I use Photo Affinity if I want to use more Photoshop-like filters and things like that on the iPad. But what I typically do is I take those files and I bring them over to Photoshop or Illustrator to really give it that little bit of punch, you know, at the end. But the illustrations I do all on the iPad. I've got an iPad pencil. I've got the iPad Pro. It's just an easy way to do it. You know, I was a little negative on the Wacom tablets that they had years ago, but you know, somebody on one of the streams had mentioned that they had one, they really liked it, and I went and I looked at the new ones, and all I can say is wow. You know, it's on the top of my list next for one of my little goodies that I like to, you know, use as an excuse that I have to have it for business. You know, it's really, I like the toys. What can I say? So anyhow, let's go ahead and get started, and we will go ahead and switch over. And is there anything that I didn't mention? Make sure to comment, go to our website, shop there, aspbtees.com, Please join us and subscribe, and please interact with us. We'd like to answer any kind of questions that you have, and be able to show you, what we do, and we'd love to talk to you. So let's get going here. I am going to switch right over. Let's see, what am I going to do? We're going to go here. Ta-da! Huh. Oh. So, that's not working right. So we'll move it over to this screen here. Let's move down the tablet a little bit on the computer and get it lined up here so that you guys can see everything nice and neat. And this was a doodle that, I've been playing around with. So let me grab my handy dandy pencil. And I might disconnect the iPad. What I want to do is switch out pencils here, because I think this one has to be charged. So I'm going to unplug the iPad, and I'll probably drop off the screen. I'll bring it right back up, and if it does, which it will, so I plug this in. No, not yet. Yep, there it goes. All right, plug that back in. Pull this down, hit live stream. Let's see how long it takes us to get this back up and rolling. Find if I come over here, hunt around for that mouse like always. Tap on that, tap on this, tap on that. There we go. All right. Now we are rocking and rolling. I don't know why it is so difficult to get it to reconnect when once it disconnects. But, I'll tell you, the iPad is the one thing that tends to hold its connection best. The camera, on the other hand, about every 20 minutes turns off on me for whatever reason. And, I set it on don't power off, but it still has a mind of its own. So let's see here. Let's get out of this. I'll just save in case I made any changes there. I'm going to go ahead and show you this one. This is one we put up a little late, for the marketing for the holidays. But if you need a t-shirt for Thanksgiving, here's a design that we worked on one of our live streams not too long ago. We drew a little turkey, and we put "gobble till you wobble." But I'll tell you an interesting story. I had to go over and meet with a doctor that was doing some evaluations for our son. And when I came out, there was a turkey in the middle of Greensboro, North Carolina. There was an honest-to-God, full-size turkey in the parking lot. I didn't know. I mean, that's just kind of weird. I mean, first of all, how did it get past all of those roads coming into town to be in that parking lot? It's just kind of very unusual. But anyways, there was a full-grown turkey in the parking lot in the middle of Greensboro, North Carolina. It's just kind of an odd thing to see, especially around Thanksgiving. So anyways, maybe he's escaped from a farm. But so anyways, that's something that was kind of something that you don't see every day. Now we are going to create a new page here. We'll do the iPad Pro screen, and this gives us a nice good size screen at 300 dpi. I do want to jump. I want to see if there's an easy way to be able to make a grid. Let me just think about this for a second. I don't know if somebody already has just like a grid that we can use and make life a lot easier. Let's see, load image. Come down here to frames, compose, games, grids. All right, here's a grid. Golden ratios, relatively small. Let's try this one. That'll work, I think. Won't that work? Should work. We'll give it a shot. See how we do with it. I should have turned it. Let me do that again. All right, load image. Come down here to grids. We'll grab this grid down here. See what this one is. That'll work. So let's try. Things go a little crazy. I'm going to turn it back. I'm going to work on it like this. Let me move it down so everybody can see it. Get it into our little space here. I hope everybody at the beginning of the week had a wonderful Veterans Day. I've used it. Everybody out there that is doing that. I want to type in here real quick. Good morning. Oops, something went long. Try reloading the page. Close, reload. Okay, let's see. Good morning. All right, we got a we can do with Periscope. I know exactly what the problem is. Yep, there it is. So, and I don't think that I can fix that in the middle of a stream. So we're just not going to worry about them today, and you know, hopefully we'll get it sorted out. So what I want to do, I think, is let me grab a pin here. And we'll grab some red, grab a different layer so we're not drawing on it. And I think, you know, if we went down 2, went over 2, that's probably too big. Come down here 3 over 2 and then up 2. Nah, that doesn't look good. So we'll just go back again. We'll just go up 1 over 1. Down 3. That'll work. So this is what we're going to work in. So let's see how we can do this. I am going to make a big brush. Actually, I'm going to make a big square. Like that. And we are going to... We can come down. It's not working out like I... Nice. All right, so we will go there, down to... Whoops. All right, so we're gonna stay in the inside of this again, like I always do. Let's turn down the opacity so it's not so distracting. Turn this black back to black. Actually, you know, we can even make this like a blue. Let's do that. Let's make this like a blue so we can easily see it. We're going to come up here, move this out of the way. We'll come up here to another layer. I'm going to grab the circle, and what we're going to do is we are going to start, and I turned it again. I'm sorry. I keep doing that. Let's move this back down. All right, there we are. I'll just turn the paper here. So, you know, what we're going to do here first is we're going to start drawing some circles. So I'll put, you know, with my pencil, I just grab the middle of it. And I kind of want these, whoa, wow. That didn't work out like I thought it would. Let's lower our nib size here to a reasonable size. We'll grab them hard round, move this down. There we go. So let's do that again. We want to make sure that we have room that we can put 3 of these in here. We want to put another one right about here, and we want one in the middle, you know, all about the same size. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be filling ribbons in the space in between. And so, you know, if it's too close together, there's going to be a lot of space in between them. So what I'm going to do is just back these 3 out of here. I'm actually going to reduce down my nib a little bit more, probably down to about 2.5. Put that there. Come up here. We can draw one, and then we can actually copy it down to another layer, and then that way we're keeping them all the same size. So if we did one that size, and then we copied it down, copy down, and then we can transform it and move it over here and make sure that it's right in the middle. And then we can do it again. We can copy it down, and then we can transform it and bring it over here to the middle here. Okay, so we've got those 3, and then I'll go ahead and do the other 2. So let me just add a couple more layers in here. Then we'll copy this down too. Come up here, transform this one, put this so it's right in the middle there. Done. Come down one more, transform it. Put it right in the middle there. And then what I'm going to do is combine all these layers. Do any of those look like they are off center? I think maybe the top right one, maybe this one, just a little bit. Okay, I think that looks good. So what I'm going to do now is go back to my layers, and I'm going to come up here at the top, and what I'm going to do is merge down 1, 2, 3, 4, and that should be all of them. Let's see. Yep. All right, now I'm going to copy this down again, and what I'm going to do is move it, transform, and move it over here, and just try to put them on top of each other. That'll be my guide. And it's kind of hard when you're doing it with your finger. For whatever reason, when I pull it up, it moves just a tad. All right, that looks good. So now we quickly did 2 of them. So again, if I wanted to, I could just come down here and merge it down. Merge, throw in another layer, and see what we're doing is we're just kind of building it up. So I'm going to copy it down one more time, and I'm going to hit transition, or transform, sorry. Sounds like the camera just turned off. Every 20 minutes or so, that thing turns off. Just had enough. All right, so we've got that first part done. So we're going to transfer our merge down again. So now we've got this. We're going to copy this down, and then I am going to transform. Transform down. What'd I do? Cancel. Copy down. Transform. All right. And we can transform or copy down again. Whoops. Undo. I say whoops a lot, don't I? Transform. So we'll have this one and then just two more to line up, and then we can get started drawing this cross. And you guys are going to love it. It is so simple once you do this to make this. This gives us, what, two more? Plus, plus. Copy down, transform. Hey, Rena. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad you enjoy it. Yeah, this is an easy way to do this, and it's a great way if you have some extra time to be able to draw some Celtic crosses if you do this little template where you can easily draw them and put them on cards or something where you might be able to give it away as a gift. And let's see here. And I have somehow gotten off of the grid a little bit. So let me just get this back up here. Right about. It's just, you know, when I pick up my thumb, it's just got to move just a little bit more. There we go, done. I'm going to come up here, transform. Move that there. You know, and those other ones look okay. So what I'm going to do is on this layer here, I'm just going to grab an eraser. You know, I'm not going to get so picky about why on earth they didn't line up like they should be. Something I did was slightly off. So I'll just, you know, correct that quickly. What I'm going to do is, let's see here, these bottom two I'm going to keep together, and these top three I'm just going to merge down like this, and then I'm going to transform it so that we just bring it down just a little bit there. Up a little bit. Jeez, I'm making it worse. All right, and then here we could probably, if I came down here, turn off my phone. All right. I can sit here all day long fooling around with that. All right, and you can see, let me get rid of this red. And you can see here that this is a, you can see the crosshair. So what we're going to do now is let's just go ahead and get rid of this grid. We don't need it at this point. Either that, or you know what I'll do? I'll leave the grid on so we can see it. I'm just going to turn down the opacity on it. Let's see, clear that out, turn down the opacity. And then that way we can see it a little bit better. All right, and I am going to come in here and I am going to just go ahead and merge all this down. So merge, merge, merge. Add a couple more blank layers on it. We'll change this back to black. We'll take this and decrease the opacity a little bit more. Yeah, I can't type out to Facebook, but that's coming in. So that's Facebook. So let me, yeah, that's that. Okay, all right. Okay. So let's see here. We have a new stream aggregator that we're using called Restream.com. And it aggregates all of the chats from Twitch and Periscope and YouTube and puts it all together, so anybody who comments there, it'll all come up on the chat here, and then I can reply, and it should go out to all. Much for watching. We really appreciate your support, and I'll just have to respond verbally to anybody who says anything, has any questions or anything on Facebook. But Rena, thanks so much. You've been a terrific supporter, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. So we're getting back to the Celtic cross. What we're going to do is we are going to do our parallel pairs at this point. And so what we want to do is anytime, let's make sure I'm on the right layer. There's nothing, and I'm not, so I'm glad I checked. We want anywhere that we can make a parallel pair on two sides. So why is that? Because I'm on an eraser and I need that. So we're going to come back in here, and I like to start a little bit beyond the circle, and then I try to, go through the circle a little bit. I can come back and erase anything and connect them. So that's our first line. So there we want to do, let me move this mic back just a little bit here. But we got our first line there, and we are going to draw another line that's parallel to it. And you can take a look at the circles, to make sure that it's parallel. And this is going to take a little bit of time to go through it, and we are just going to sit here and visit and walk ourselves right through this. I'm going to just click over to one other screen. You're going to get my my transition here, but I just want to see if it's pulling this chat over to the window. Ta-da! And that is not. So I'm going to go in here and find out why. Copy. We'll go back to chat. I'm going to come in here and double click on this. Cancel. And no wonder I was clicking on the wrong chat. So get in here, Control V. Okay. Let's see what we get. A whole lot of nothing. All right, so I'll troubleshoot that one later. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. Why? But why? I can't accept this. I have to just take a minute and go back and look. Maybe it's just new things that will come up. Maybe it won't pull. What'd I do? Let me bring this down. For whatever reason, when I start messing with any of these things on while I'm streaming, I always make things worse. Let me try to let's test. Let's see if that shows up here. No, it doesn't. Go back in here. Copy. Back to chat. Delete. I don't know. Anyways, so back to drawing this. You know, when you do one of these live streams, you've got to cobble together so many different things. And again, you know, I use a Mac for my designing. And so, you know, sometimes things don't quite fit the way that they should. And you've got to find workarounds for them. So, you know, it's always something, but we're always improving. We're always going to get better, and we're going to keep moving forward. So each time you come back at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, you're going to stop and you're going to say, wow, this was so much better than a week ago. It's amazing. Who is this guy? He's stunning. So, but I would like everybody to leave a comment down in the comment section of anything that, whatever stream that you're watching this on. And it's going to do two things. One, we want to get to know you, and we want to make this interactive and fun. The other thing is that it will enter you into a drawing that we do once a week. And today, I believe, is Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thursday. No, today is Thursday. So we need to do our drawing for the week today. So after this stream, we'll do the drawing for this week. And whoever wins, so comment, and whoever wins will get either a free t-shirt or a free tote bag of any design they want from our store. So it's worth your time. You knock out a present real easily for Christmas. So make sure you comment. Don't forget to subscribe or like our page so you get notified whenever we go live. Okay? So let's get back to this, our parallel pairs. We will slowly do this all the way through. And then here I like to stop. And see what I did is I kept doing the parallel pairs like that. And you got to remember, when you do a parallel pair, you've got to do the T on it. So there we go. We make a T out of it. Or make the perpendicular, I guess you would say. And we will do this one. So we just keep doing it. When we get to the end of that one, we want to do this one here. And we just keep lining it up with our circles. So, you know, as you can see, if you're doing any of these Celtic designs, These circles are really just spacers. So the bigger the circle is, the smaller the ribbon is going to be that you're going to end up drawing. And there's going to be more space in between them. So the smaller the circles, the larger the ribbons, and the less space between each one. So, I like to do them about, this size and have a little bit of space in between them. But you can do it a tighter weave or you can do it a looser weave. Whichever you prefer. And it's all dependent on the size of the circles that you draw. I still can't get over that we saw that turkey in the middle of Greensboro. That was so surreal and odd. It is just not something that you see every day. And right here around the holidays, that guy went in the wrong direction. He needs to probably get away from people. But I've got my father-in-law here visiting, which is a treat as well. He is a veteran of the Vietnam War. He was in the Air Force, and it was a very memorable experience for him in a good way. And so it's just nice to have him here. It was nice to have him here for Veterans Day at the kids' school. They always honor the veterans. Unfortunately, my kids were sick. So he comes down once a year specifically to be a part of this, part of the kids' school. And the kids love it. They get all this attention for their grandfather coming in for Veterans Day. And, of course, my middle schooler, she ended up with strep throat. And so Grandpa... he really comes down to do it for them. So, without them being there, he just chose that, he would skip this one this year and come back next year. And that's understandable. But it is certainly nice to have him here. And since he's here, he's a train enthusiast. So we have a train out in western North Carolina that does these short runs, and I can't remember exactly where. I think it goes from Franklin, North Carolina, to right over into Tennessee somewhere. And it's a couple-hour train ride. But, it's a beautiful time of year to do it with the leaves turning and everything. A lot of leaves are falling, but still, there's still some color. It's not peak, but there's still some color out there. And so we go up there. We're going to go up to the mountains. We're going to rent a place for a couple of days, and we are going to go out with the kids. And they have, I think it's Thomas the Tank Engine is what they have out there right now. So we've got our kids, and we've got a little one who's 5, and we've got all the cousins that are going to meet us out there at this house that we rented. And we're going to take Grandpa out there, and we are going to go on an awesome train ride with all the cousins and all the kids, and it is going to be a blast. And we're going to have Thanksgiving up there. So it's a very exciting time for us. And we're glad to have Grandpa here to be part of it. Parallel lines. Back to parallel lines. This is like a good meditative thing to do. Kind of like a Zen doodle. You just sit here and draw your parallel lines. You'll see parallel lines in your sleep. I don't think when my son took his driving test, I don't think he had to learn how to do parallel parking anymore. We used to have to do that. That was always a big one on the test. I've got a good story for you. I grew up in Miami, and I had a good friend in high school who needed to go get his license because we were always driving around. So me and the rest of the friends had it because he never drove. It was always somebody else who had to drive. And so, we wanted Courtney, to go get his license. It was his excuse for years. And this was like our senior year. So, and his excuse was that he didn't know how to drive stick. And his parents had a stick car. So I went over with my parents' automatic and the minivan. Got him. Sat there all day in Miami waiting for him to go take his driving test. This tells you what a good friend I am. And, he went out and he took his test and everything, and he pulled back in, and I was waiting outside, to watch him during the test, because they had this little fenced off area in Miami. You didn't go out to the main streets. They had cones up and you had to do certain things. And so, he came back and he pulled into the spot, and I said, "Courtney, how'd you do?" He said, "I think I did good." And then he looked over to the instructor, and this is a true story. I'm not making this up at all. And she just pointed up, and she was writing on her notepad there. And he had pulled into the handicap spot, and so she failed him. Unbelievable. I think Courtney did it on purpose. To make sure that he didn't have to drive anymore. But I didn't take him back. One day at the DMV was enough for me. I'm not that good a friend. So anyhow, it was kind of a funny story. I still remember that. Parallel lines. But you're going to be amazed at how nicely this comes out just by doing this. And, if you do it on a different layer, and most people have some sort of tablet nowadays, so you can easily get any kind of little drawing app to be able to do this. And, be able to do it here where you can put on different layers and make it easy on yourself. If you draw it out by hand, that it's not a big deal. Just make sure you draw the circles very lightly and draw your grid lines very lightly, so you can just go back and erase it. So what I would do is in pencil, draw the circles and draw the grid lines, and then either I would do it in a heavy mark with the pencil, and then go back and erase it all, and then go back and clean it up so everything looks smooth and nice before you ink it. And then the last thing I would do is ink it. I don't know if you guys have anything special out there for Thanksgiving, but if you do, I would love to hear about it. I don't know if anybody here is from North Carolina that is watching, but man, we have just gotten an unbelievable amount of rain down here. I feel like I'm in the Pacific Northwest. We've gotten so much rain. Look at these nice and even parallel pairs. So now that if you ever see me walking around, you walk up and say, "Hey, nice parallel pairs, buddy." It'll be like an inside thing. I'll be like, "Ah, you saw." Don't forget to come visit us over at www.aspbtees.com and do a little shopping for your holiday. We would certainly appreciate the business. And if you would be so kind as to hit follow or subscribe so you're notified whenever we do one of these lives. I keep ducking out of the camera, don't I? I should lift this up to me. That's what I'll do. Sorry about that. But anyways, if you could hit subscribe or like or whatever it is on whichever platform you're watching on, that way you can get notified when we go live every weekday at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And come join us. We would love to get to know you and, what your interests are, and, be able to visit while I do my designing here at the shop. And it just makes it for a much, more pleasant time. It will hopefully get our name out there in a positive way, which I don't see why it wouldn't. All right, did we miss anything? Yes, we did. Here's one I missed. All right, now before we go on, what I typically like to do, because I'm using a line tool, is to go ahead and go back here and just kind of fix things up. So the first thing I'll do is, fix up any lines that didn't come and, completely hook up, which is probably most of them, to the perpendicular lines. And you can see this is just kind of a fun activity. You could do it in front of the TV or, just in the evening when you want some quiet time. And, to be able to do an activity, you don't have to burn a whole lot of brain power on. Kind of make kind of a neat design. It's kind of meditative. If you're Catholic, you could probably say the rosary while you're doing it. However, I don't think I could. I can't do two things at once very well. I like to concentrate on one thing at a time. All right. So we just got a few more to do here, and then we'll wrap this up. And then we are going to close off our ribbons on the edges. Let's see here. Did I miss any of these? Anything that needs to be connected a little bit better? Right here, right there. Ah, here's one. And this is what I love about this little sketching app that I have, is that I can move the canvas around and zoom in and out just by pinching my fingers. I don't have to move the iPad around. And a lot of them, I don't know what those designers are thinking. It's static on the screen, so you got to move your whole iPad back and forth to draw on it. To me, that's, that's a designer who's never used it. Or a programmer, rather. It's a programmer, not a designer. That's what I'm trying to say. They need to get their designers on there. All right, so I think everything here looks pretty good. I'm going to grab this eraser and kind of look in here and see if there's any little pieces like right here that need to be shaved off. And of course, we want to decrease that nib. My camera turned off on me yet again. And my screen is off for some reason. So let's grab this. Let's take a second. Oh, that must have happened when I was showing you about how you've got to move around the iPad. So we'll put all of this back together. Get this back up here. Get the box off my face. Get rid of that chat that's not working so you can have my little end there. Ta-da! All right. Get over here to freehand. Clean that up. That's cleaned up. Any others? I know I saw one that was sticking way out. Here it is. There's one. Well, here's one. All right, how does that look? I think that looks pretty good. I think we got them all. Here's one we probably need to connect just a little bit better quickly. All right, just do that by hand. Just shave this one down a tad. All right, now I'm just getting to persnickety. All right, so here, what we want to do is we'll grab this and we are going to freehand this. Whenever, we have it here in the edge and we can't make our parallel pairs, what we do is we want to connect it to the adjoining or the adjacent ribbon. So this would be the adjacent ribbon here to this one here. So we want to curve this around this way so that we can connect those two, that path. And so let me back these three out and I'll show you what I mean. So here, this would come out here, and you can come back here with, this straight line if you wanted to, and just bring it up to the circle. And we want to just bring this right around like that. Okay. So that looks good. And we'll come back and clean up those little pieces. So what we want to do is we want to stay on the inside of the box here. So see this box, from the grid. We want to try not to cross that line. If you cross it a little bit, it's not a big deal. But so what we'll do here is we'll just start from, the edge here of that circle. And then we're going to just kind of curve it to this line and curve it there. So. And we'll try to make it smooth. We'll do the same thing here and just make it smooth, just like that. We can come back in here and kind of even it out a little bit better. And then, once we get rid of the grids, we'll be able to see this a little bit better. And then we'll just come in here like this. Just clean up those edges a tad. And then we will have a Celtic cross. And we will take our iPads to parties and pull it out and show people, and we will be the hit of the party. And they'll say, wow, what explosive talent you have. Or maybe not, I don't know. Probably not, really. But and we don't want it to look, we want to make sure that we've got that curve in there. Shave it down a little bit. This first one wasn't off to a very good start. I like that. Okay. How we doing? All right. So there's one. This don't take so long on all of these. I'm talking to myself. We will be sitting here all day long. And you know, these don't have to be perfect either. You know, when you get done with it. You know, depending on what you're looking to do with these. Now, the other thing you can do, I should point out here, is let me find a. Is you could take this and you could come straight out to the corner. A lot of people will do this and give it that kind of look there. A lot of people also will come out here and kind of bevel it and give it kind of a little bit of a beveled look on the end. And of course you would erase out the curve here. So there, you know, this, and that way you would get more of a cross look to it. And so, you know, it depends on, you know, what you want to do. You know, now on second thought, I think I'm actually going to just do that. It's going to give it that more angular look to the edges and be a little more cross-like. So let's get rid of these curves, and there on the edge, we'll just bring those out. Let's make that nib a little bit bigger. Clean it up here, there, everywhere. How are we doing on time? Oh, my mic got away from me. Hope you were still able to hear me pretty well. You should have been. But, you know, obviously it's going to be better if it's right up here. All right, see? So that's what it would look like if you brought the cross out to the edge. And we'll do the same thing over here. It's a little bit easier to do than your curves. And I think for a cross, it's going to look a little bit better. So we'll just come straight out like that. That looks good. Good, 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 good. All right. Now you might want, now these two on the inside, I'm going to make, you know, smooth. They're not going to be pointy. You know, that's just, I don't think it would look right if it was, you know, came to a point. All right, and then we can always come back and clean this up. And we are going to do this all the way around the cross. If you guys have any questions, you know, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Again, if you leave a comment, we'll enter you into a drawing for a t-shirt or a tote bag from our store. You know, and if I am drawing and nobody's around, I shouldn't be admitting this on a live stream, but I like to make drawing sounds, like dramatic drawing sounds, like da 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 da. As I'm like connecting it, it's kind of weird, right? Da 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 da, like it's some kind of 70s action show. Okay, how does that look on one side of the cross? Let me get rid of this grid and get rid of the circles. I think that looks nice. So let's go ahead and keep working and finish up the other ones. And again, this is just something that you can do. This kind of meditative, and you can just kind of relax and color that in. All right, let's do this side, and then we'll do that corner. What'd I do? Stop drawing. Make sure we're all good here on the camera and everything. That keeps... Oh, thank goodness. It's like, oh, I hope I'm on the right layer. It's always disappointing when you find out you've been drawing on the wrong layer. How are we doing here? I didn't do that one very well. Let's do that again. Like that. Whoops, I went ahead to the edge on that one. This is one, this curve here, these should all be curved right up here, you know, because we're going down the lower length of the cross here. So let me get an eraser and go back here and clean up these little straight lines. And this is the beauty of doing it digitally, is it just makes it so much easier. Alright, and this. We'll go back in here and fill that back in. Right along in there. Whoop. Look at that. Right there. All right, let's kind of zoom out. Everything's looking like it's coming along pretty well. We'll just keep doing this. Again, we are drawing a Celtic cross. If you're just now joining us. And we're just finishing up the edges and cleaning it up a little bit. That was a terrible corner. All right, that's better. Get over here. Whoops. Do that. Do that. All right. Get in here a little bit better. Now, all we need to do is all these little lines, like right in here, let's just go back and clean them up. Then we'll turn off that grid and the little blue balls and see what we've got. And this one here is looking kind of thin, so we'll just come in and kind of redo that. All right. So how are we doing? Let's take a look at it. Turn that off, turn that off. Wow, that looks great, I think. But I'm partial because I just sat here for the last hour and drew it. But I think it looks terrific. Any little things? Now this is the time that you can come back here and you can see, this line's not consistently straight. And just come back here and kind of clean it up a little bit. Get it the way that I like it. A little thicker over here. And, that's just being a little, hyper-focused on things. A little OCD, maybe. So, anyways, this is our cross. And now what I would suggest doing is there's all kinds of things you can do at this point. This is really just your starting point. And we can do it like this. Now, the other way we can do a cross is we could have gone ahead and broken it up by drawing a line. Maybe I should show you that. What I'll do is just move this up here and then copy it down, turn that layer off so we have that version of the cross. Now the other thing that you can do is let's turn our grid back on, and I'm going to get a red line here. Line, red. Get back over on our brush tool. Make sure I'm on a new blank layer. And then what I can do is right here in the middle where it crosses, if you draw a red line right through there and right through there, those could be our break lines. So if we went back and we had drawn this in first, the idea is no lines can cross the break lines. And you can do all kinds of different patterns this way. You can do it where you brought the break line all the way down to here if you wanted to. But let's just start it with here so I can show you what I'm talking about. So anything that goes across a break line, I want to erase. So this line is going to cross it. And we are going to just, what am I doing? Got the eraser. And I want to do freehand. I'm going to increase this nib so we can do this kind of quickly. And so this line here, I must not be on by layer. So we'll go back that up. So, all right. So this line's crossed. So we'll get rid of that. You know, this line is crossed. Hey, Jackie, how are you?
Good. Can you check your mic?
Yeah, is it not working?
Well, I'm not getting sound on the YouTubes.
Has it been that way the whole time?
Well, I just checked it, and Facebook, I'm spooling. I'm actually. What are you seeing over on your end?
Well, Rena was here on Facebook.
I saw that.
But I haven't had any chat or anything here. I haven't been going and looking at it because I'm trying this new streaming service called Restream.
Yeah.
Everything here is showing that my mic is working and
Okay.
everything's good.
I was filling some orders for some awesome people and had stepped away from my computer, and when I came back I noticed that I wasn't hearing anything, and it's spooling on my end on Facebook. So I just thought I'd check.
Yeah, Facebook Live there's always problems with it.
Yeah. Not that we don't love you, Facebook. We love you.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Okay, well, I was just checking to see if your microphone's on.
Well, let me go ahead and end this. And what I will do is, once again, take a look at what is going on. And, well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and finish what I'm working on. I know I'm not streaming to Twitter for whatever reason.
Well, there was no link. I just checked it. It said, it referenced it, but there was no link.
So, anyhow.
Okay. Oh, I hear sound on my computer now, Charles.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Good. All right, so apparently there is sound. I'm going to go ahead and finish up this recording. I don't like stopping in the middle of it, you know, and because I would have to redo it tomorrow. But anyways, we had just finished a Celtic cross, and what I am doing at this point is just going back in here and cleaning this up a little bit. So any line that has crossed one of these red lines needs to go. This needs to go. Whoops. Make that a little bit smaller. And looks like that just went down, so let's see if we can get that brought back up. There it is. Move this back down. Where's the cursor? There it is. All right. So this line crossed it. We're going to get rid of that one. Boom, 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 boom. All right, let's move this one back. That one, no, this one had come to the edge of the circle and stopped. That line crossed. This line crossed. So we want to get rid of that. All right, that one had crossed. Get rid of that. Those are good. Those are good. These should come out. So let's get back over here. Get a straight line. Make that black. No, because that would have crossed. All right, so we want that coming out. There. So what we're going to do, it's always something. What we're going to do now at this point is we're going to get in here and we are going to redraw these lines, but we can't cross any of the red lines. So, this one, this path here, and I need to get back to my freehand. There we go. This line, that's going to wrap around there. This one's going to wrap around here. This is going to wrap around here. So we don't cross any of those red lines that we put in there. And those are called our break lines. So we can do this, bring that right around. Bring this up. I didn't do very well. And I'll come back and clean that up some. Not some, a lot. But you can see what we're doing here. We're just kind of curving it back around. And it will give it a new and interesting knot there in the middle of the Celtic cross. So this is one of the things that you can do. Whoops. Let's go. What the heck? Everything's fine until I get to this middle part. There we go. There we go. There we go. One more here. One more there. One more there. So you can see how it's going to look. Now we're going to come in here and let's turn this off. There and there. So we can just see our break lines. And here we're just going to clean things up a little bit. We'll get in here and just clean it up. Clean it up, Verge. And you can even make those lines so they come over and touch if you want to. You might want to draw your break lines a little bit thinner than what I did. There we go. Grab an eraser, come along the edge. All right. And again, please leave us a comment. You don't have to necessarily ask anything about what we're working on here, but we want to engage and get to know you. Let's see here. I'm going to go back here and continue to work on cleaning up some different areas here. But if you can just leave any kind of comment or question that you have, we do have our weekly drawing. And it's a great way to to be able to get a free gift for somebody for the holidays. But you get to select between any of our t-shirts or tote bags and put any of our designs on whatever you want, and we will ship it to you at our expense. Okay, pretty straightforward. Let's get rid of that X right there, so you can kind of see the way it looks. And then in here, the big thing is to try and get these lines kind of uniform in width. This is a lot easier doing something like this on Illustrator or vector type program, but only this part is. When you're doing the shading and kind of doing a little bit of extra that we are going to get to in just a minute, this is where you want to be. All right, so I kind of like to bring these up so that they're touching a little bit. Let's see, this one. And then here, we can come in here. That looks, kind of. That was terrible. What the heck? There we go. Is that better? I don't know. It's tubular, man. Tubular. Okay. All right, I think that is done. And so what we did is we put these break lines in the middle here, and we got an absolutely new design. This is what we have here. This is, the first one we did. This is just your basic Celtic cross. And if you wanted to have a little bit more interesting design to it, we can get rid of that, put this up here, and then you would have this right in here. And again, let me just, whoops, wrong layer. All right, so there's another one. We could, come back in here at, some point. I'm not going to do it today or tomorrow or probably the next day. But, if you wanted to, you could come and put a break point, break line all the way through like that. And then it would just, it would give it an interesting look. So that's one thing that you can do to make it look interesting. So, and you can make it so that, there's all kinds of different things you could do. You can make, break lines here and there, so it would just kind of wrap around. Whatever you want. But this just gives it, a little bit of extra style. So you can take that basic, Celtic cross, that pattern that I've shown you, and you can break it up and make some, variations on it very easily by using the same technique. So, it's fun to do. Let's get rid of this line here. Let's see, clear. Still didn't go, so it must be down here. Let me just grab an eraser. I think I've got a delivery, so let me go make sure the door is unlocked so the guy can get in here. Be right back. Yep. It is still raining out there. That is just amazing to me. It has been so miserable here. So let's get rid of this. Boom. It's got to be on this layer. It's the only one that's visible. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we've got this, and we have the other one. So we now have 2 Celtic crosses in here. And here's the delivery.
How's it going, man?
Good, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Uh-huh. What a nice surprise. I think we're going to be able to do another unboxing right here. This is my little teleprompter. Yeah.
I thought I heard the UPS guy.
Yeah.
Sound is not going to show again, so.
Well, I'll have to work on it.
What happens on the payback?
Well, I got to find out if Chase is streaming something. Last time that happened, he was streaming stuff.
Okay.
He was using up all the bandwidth.
Well.
So.
Okay, good check.
So this is it here. This is so. Oh, I got in. Shut the door. There we go. All right. So this is it here, and this is so. Where's the camera? There. Can you see it? That's a teleprompter that I'm going to hook up to the camera that I can use with my iPhone, so that when I am trying to tell you guys something and I don't want to just ad-lib it, I'll be able to look right at you while I'm doing this, and it will be amazing. Amazing. So anyways, I'm, going to pull it out, but I'm not going to set that up this second. So we'll put that aside. Right here. Okay. Now, back to what we were doing. So this is our Celtic cross. We did 2 different versions of it. Let's just take one of them, and then let's just grab a layer right above it, so we don't do anything that we'll regret later. That we say, oh, I should have done this way or that way, and then all of a sudden, it's it's too far back to back out of it. So what we've got right here. If we do it, because we talked about it before, this little app that I have is rasterized, which means that anything that I do to it is destructive to the pixels. So if I move, unless I have it on separate layers, but if I move and combine those layers down or do it just on one layer, anytime I draw across it, it's actually destroying those pixels underneath it and replacing it with a new pixel. So if I took a big red line like this, and I just took it on this, this layer, and I went like that, I can't recover any of those black lines behind it unless I undo it. It'll record a history of it so far back. But if it's beyond that recorded history, I can't get rid of that. But if I keep it on separate layers, then I'm not harming anything on the layer below it. So let's just grab another layer, and I showed you guys how we can easily come in here and we can shade it. There's a lot of different ways that we can do it. Probably the easiest way is to grab something like a vector tool to come in here, make sure that we're filling, and we'll do an auto loop, smoothing it out. Not too much, really, not at all. Check our nib on this thing, and I'm going to show you how this works. We can just take it here. Generally, the way it works is you want to start in the middle, and then we'll just follow the contour or the line around until we get to there. And see, now I have a nice little gradient coming out. So what I want to do, once I have that gradient, is I just come back over here to my tools and I grab blur. And you can do this on Photoshop or any of your little apps you have. Just right here at the end, blur it. So now what it does is it tapers off into the white area. Now, to me, this is kind of dark, and you can make it different colors too. I like to do it pretty uniform. So if I want to do it like a dark navy blue or something like that and give it a little more depth and color to it, I'd probably do it to the whole thing. I wouldn't do it to just the shading because we have these outlines as well. So, we can come in here, and then what we can do is just, I would grab that and just move it around until all of it's done, and then lower the opacity of it until I got it to where I wanted it. Now, the other thing that you can do is let's just kind of turn off this layer for a moment. I'll add another layer in there, and we will just grab, the brush here and grab a nib of a shading pencil. So we'll just grab like this 2B type crayon or pencil here, and then we lower down our nib. Let's make sure we're on a separate layer from that. And then what you can do is you can do a little beveled area right along here. You want to try and make it as clean as you can. And you can lower down the opacity of that line. It's way too dark. Let's bring that way down. So then we can do it like that. And I'm not going to get a good line for you, am I? Let me do it again. And then you can even do it over here. And then if we shaded, what we would do is we would want to just kind of shade it along in here, maybe right along the edge there. And then we could blur it, and then we could just make it look like this tape is a little more beveled. And I know I'm doing this fast. And then we would, of course, do it in here like that and just make it kind of darker down here. All right, so again, and then, we would use blur to kind of blur this together. And then what you can do is take this eraser, grab a soft brush here, like this soft round, the B2, and then let's lower that nib down and then just put it on there. Just lower the opacity some, and then just strike it right down the middle so that you get that kind of glowy portion. I'm not doing this too well. I'm probably rushing it too much. To just, I kind of wanted to show you that, there's different variations that you can do here, depending on how much time and effort you want to put into it. I tend to like to use the tools to make things a little bit easier and speedier. And again, you have the difference between blur, which is going to take and average out all the pixels around you. So see where that giant nib is taken into consideration and averaging those pixels together. So that's blur, and smudge is different. Smudge will actually grab, we'll bring this way down, but it will actually grab and smudge it, going forward. So if you wanted to pull some of that ink out, just like, you would see an artist do if he was doing like a charcoal painting or a charcoal drawing or something like that, where, he might take his finger or something and just kind of smudge it out, just so he can get, a little more color going a little bit further. So anyways, that's the difference between that, and then you would come back here and you would get your blur and you just average it out so it's a little more even. So, you can do something like that. Again, and then lower the opacity to it if it's a little too dark there. But, that's going to take a lot more effort to do. Usually the end results are quite nice. And you can come in here, even, I would even change this to, so where you got a nice 4H, nice hard, thin pencil. And then you can come in here and kind of, draw on there and just kind of get a little separation on it, kind of make it look. And, I didn't turn the opacity down on that. Always turn the opacity down. I mean, you can go back and erase it. But again, if you're doing it all on the same layer, everything that you do is destructive. You can back it out like 20 or so, on this program. But it's not indefinite. You can back things out. So, you just want to come down. But, if you lower down that opacity, then you just kind of slowly build up the charcoal or on the paper, or that effect, and then you don't have to go back so much. So anyways, you could do that, kind of give it that little barrier, and see, now it's starting to take a little more shape. You could shade it down here a little bit more. I'd probably bring back the shading this way some, like, you actually it was actually drawn out on paper. You can make it look like it is something that's vintage. There's all kinds of things you can do, and you can bring all kinds of color into it. Watercolors is always nice. You can simulate watercolors and put that behind it. You can put a background behind it that looks like it's a canvas, so it looks like something that had been painted. But anyways, I'm not going to go that far out. We are going to come back here and take a look at how we can do this, reasonably quickly, in a reasonable way. So what I'm going to do here is just add a layer, copy this down, and then I'm going to transform it, and I'm just going to move it around so it's facing the opposite direction. Just move it back, and then it needed to go 2 more times. Yep. I think that looks right. We can always go back in and color it in a little bit, or just grab it again, and there we go. So, there we've got it so that it looks like it's weaving in and out, and how easy was that to do? And then we can just simply grab that if we wanted to, merge it down, copy down both of those. Let's do that. And these lines should be pretty uniform. So we can take this and we'll throw another blank layer in here. We'll take these two and merge them down, and then we'll copy it down to this one, and then we'll grab that one, and then we can move it right over here, and get it in there, and then we can just come in here and grab a little eraser, clean up the edges, and want our opacity up all the way for this. So we'll just clean up our edges. We'll get this here, get some black ink on it. And what's the matter? Oh, my opacity's down. If things aren't working right on any of these programs, the first thing you should check is your opacity. Usually your opacity's off. Alright, so now we've got 2. Look at that. Oh, you can't. You know why? Because it disappeared. So we'll bring that back up. Which means it's probably about time for my camera to go out on me. So while I'm doing this, I'll just go ahead and reset that. Okay, so here you can see that, so you're getting kind of a reflective silver look to it, and you can color that in if you wanted to. We do screen printing here, and so, the more colors that we add and variations of colors, the more screens we have to think about. But, if you're just drawing this out for a friend or whatever, this is just kind of an easy way to do it. And we can take this and, let's see, what do I want to do here? I don't necessarily want to merge them down. because I'd still want to be able to copy it. This is what I'll do. I'll do that, bring that up here, copy this down, hide that, merge that one down. Now I can move these two. We'll transform. But what I wanted to show you here is I can take this layer now and just decrease the opacity to it, so I get it to where I like it. You know, we don't have to have it that dark. We might just have a little bit of nice shading. And you know, I can even come back here if we turn this down a little bit, you know, and you know, so that it doesn't look so computer generated. You know, I can grab this and kind of smudge it out a little bit from that black line, and then I could, you know, we could even really tone down the other lines. So there's all kinds of things that you could do with this cross. I've showed you two different variations. There's, you know, it's a nice design. It looks great, and there's all kinds of things that you can do with it. And I think that this would be great on a t-shirt or on a tote bag. But I will probably take a little bit more time and add a little more design to it, give it some more depth, and make it a little more interesting looking. And, you know, see what I can do there. I don't know if I'm going to have time to do it this week. But, you know, I think that we'll probably end up coming back and revisiting that. So I'm going to save that. And I want to thank... Well, I want to thank everybody who has joined us today. And we will be doing this every day at 10 o'clock. Please join us. We continue to work through various problems with the streaming, and hopefully, you know, we can get all of this resolved soon and move forward. So thanks again for joining us on our stream. We will see you again tomorrow at 10 o'clock a.m. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.